Yo, welcome back to my channel. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe, join the tribe. Hey, we're gonna get straight into it. Me work inner mastery, this concept where we're just focusing on ourself, being diligent with our goals, disciplines, and habits. So let's start by understanding what a habit is. Habits are defined as actions that are triggered automatically in response to contextual cues that have been associated with their performance. So I think of habits as the body's autopilot system. What makes me think about this is the word habitat. That's where animals perform their habits at. When you think of habits in that context, unhealthy habits become a part of what the body understands are necessary to survive. Now let's look at the characteristics of unhealthy habits versus healthy habits. So healthy habits contribute to overall well-being. They promote positive change in the mind and body. They contribute to life purpose and increase life expectancy. On the unhealthy side, they're going to diminish overall well-being. They're going to deteriorate the mind and body. They're going to stagnate progress towards life purpose, and they're going to shorten life expectancy. So when you're trying to figure out, hey, is this a healthy habit for me or is this an unhealthy habit for me? Look at the characteristics of it. As long as it checks off one, you got something. Because social media addiction deteriorates the mind. It does stagnate progress towards life purpose because you're not using that time towards a positive mission. And it does diminish overall well-being because you start having that regret at the end of the night that you wasted your day because you were on social media all day. And shorten life expectancy, being sedentary while on social media, potentially, we'll put it on the unhealthy side. Now, could social media be a healthy?
Perhaps.
Potentially. I guess if you use it in moderation, it could contribute to overall well-being. If you meet the right people online or you consume the right content in the appropriate amounts, it could promote positive change in the mind. And learning on social media could contribute to life purpose. So determining if a habit is healthy or unhealthy is really based on how it's affecting your life. Unhealthy habits are easy to establish because we have an accountability system. Usually our peers, our friends are partaking in stuff. If they're doing it, it must be okay. They've already vetted out the process. We trust them. So we're going to go ahead and partake in whatever activity they share with us. That's why it's important to choose your friends wisely. If you can't change your friends mentally, change your friends by replacing them with more positive friends. Accessibility for unhealthy habits is super close. Phone. My phone is literally always nearby whenever I make this reference. Boom, phone. And that was actually a little bit easier to pick up than my water earlier. Ooh.
Spinal.
I literally popped and cracked trying to reach my healthier water, which is way behind me. Now, what's fortunate for me is that since I know this is the phone that I don't have social media on, so nothing going to distract me with that. On the unhealthy side, we have prompting, visual cues, ringing, the notifications going off. Those things are unhealthy prompting cues that we have to trigger us. Also, the visual cue of just seeing like your unhealthy foods on the counter or in your bedroom before you go to bed. Those are visual cues that prompt you to take unhealthy action before you go to bed or just anytime during the day. Even your friends talking to you about the unhealthy habit is a prompt. That's what advertisement relies on, is prompting. You see this mouth-watering burger, just me saying that right there, boom, you just imagine like whatever restaurant you like, and man, I haven't had a burger in a minute. Boom. Auditory cue on me just saying the word. Visual cue online. If I'm on YouTube, that would have been the perfect time to place an ad, right? We also get validation on the unhealthy habit side. Our friends either encourage us about the action. We tell ourselves we had a long day, give ourselves positive reason for partaking in unhealthy habits. Also on the unhealthy side, we make gradual change towards unhealthy progress. So we are patient with ourselves when we're making bad habits. We're very non-stressed. We don't rush ourselves. We don't have a goal of being addicted to social media. We just slowly grow into being addicted to social media. Now, if somebody told you to watch 1,000 reels in a day, that goal is set preemptively and you're thinking about the goal. It's like, wow, I have to try to hit 1,000 videos. What does that mean? Does that mean cut corners on some videos? Does that count? Does that mean watch the video full out? Now you're thinking about the goal. So this is what happens on the healthy side, when we're trying to establish like a fitness goal, it's like, well, you have to do 10 reps, lift this amount of weight, and then try to reduce this goal. When you start thinking about the numbers, it puts things into perspective. But since we don't have any numbers on the unhealthy side, we don't think about the calories we're consuming. We don't think about the time that it takes to do certain tasks that are unhealthy for ourselves and how much time we're wasting in that regard. We just mindlessly do these things, and it makes it very easy to establish it as a unhealthy habit. Ideally, by listing out these concepts, my goal is to flip-flop the ease of unhealthy habits, put it on the healthy side for myself, and take the hard, difficult nature of establishing healthy habits and flip that to the unhealthy side. Choose one unhealthy habit that you would like to reduce and put it in the comments. So I'll be checking the comments and seeing if there's anything I can create that will help you towards your goal. You want to break your habit into levels to give yourself clarity. My example was doom scrolling. For social media usage, doom scrolling 5 or more hours represents level 10. Binge scrolling for 4 hours, so you use the system to plug in your numbers, your ideology on what is the level for your unhealthy habit that would help you break them down into multiple layers. All right. So now we're going to look at effective elements of habit reduction. So this is where we take those same principles that we saw on the healthy side that were going to make the healthy habit hard to establish, and we really dive deep on how do we use those same principles to make our unhealthy habit harder to access and make it easier for us to get rid of. All right. So number one, we had a support system we must be encouraged to avoid. So we have to seek expert confirmation. So it could be a coach, it could be a counselor, a doctor, a rehab specialist. It can also be wise counsel from elders or historical figures in books. So sometimes I mentally refer to Kobe Bryant as far as my work ethic. If I'm not getting after it, I kind of just know like, hey, I'm letting Kobe down in a sense because I'm not using the Mamba mentality and I'm wasting my resources. So that's something that you can pull from, and you really can use anybody. You create your support system, and nobody's mentally off limits as far as how you can pull from their ideology. All right. Follow a professional plan. If you have a doctor, make sure you follow their plan, give it a chance, and then work with them to adjust your plan. We gain knowledge from our peers, so they're a part of our support system. Even me in this video or people in the comments, they're part of the support system. So you add them to your tribe and say, hey, are you dealing with this? How do you go with that? Your friends are like free counseling because they're dealing with the same issues, and they're more than happy to help or at least give a little bit of advice. All right. We desire a sense of belonging. So this works against us on the unhealthy side when we want to belong to the crowd that smokes the weed. We want to belong to the crowd that binges on certain content, and we want to be able to tell them about a model or actress that we saw if you're indulging in that unhealthy content. So this is what you want to use in your favor when you're reducing unhealthy habits. Create a support system, work with people that are working towards the same goal as you. All right. So answer in the comments, who is in your support system? Who will you add and who will you remove? All right. Let's go to the next step here. Effective elements for habit building. Number 2 is accessibility. We must make it simple for ourselves to avoid or create a barrier of entry to the habit. So that's changing the environment, increasing the distance, limiting our knowledge on the subject matter, increasing our energy required to perform the task, or choosing the one that's more costly. Now, cost is kind of the thing that we can't control the most. But if you say, I'm only going to allow myself to buy the $1,000 option for this, and then you know that you're cheap, it's like you're trying to trick yourself into not purchasing the item. That's really a tough one to establish. But the other ones are more achievable. Environment, remove yourself from a space that is conducive for that activity. So if it's having a dirty room, makes it easier to binge social media, because binging social media serves as a escapism for the responsibility of cleaning your room. You want to clean your room so that your mind is more clear and you're not using a dirty room as a trigger to start social media. You want to increase the distance, put your phone somewhere in a far away room. You want to limit your knowledge, so don't learn about the new stuff. Don't learn about the new apps as far as social media content. If it's another unhealthy habit, don't learn about the new restaurant. Don't learn about the new strand of this or that. Don't learn about the new alcohol brand. Limit your knowledge on these subject matters, and that will help you to reduce the unhealthy activity. All right. Increase the energy. That goes into the proximity. If you make it further away, now you have to use more energy to go partake in the task. That makes it easier to reduce the unhealthy habit. All right. So how will you decrease your accessibility to your unhealthy habits? Let's look at number 3, prompting. Now we have to create prompting for ourselves. We have to remove prompting from the unhealthy habits. We have to be inclined to forget to do it. So that was what the accessibility was also all about, is removing that visual cue. That's one of the main things that proximity and environment create, is visual cues to do something. So take away those. Out of sight, out of mind is how the unhealthy habit declines, right? Sensory cues. These are the trigger concepts that we can get rid of. Get rid of sight, sound, touch, smell. Get rid of the thought impulse, and get rid of the option for the action, right? So remove all sight, sound, touch, smell. Create inaccessibility from the thought impulse. If you think to do something but you don't have it available, that diminishes that action immediately. It's like, oh, I want this soda. Well, I don't have soda in the house, so I have to go far to get it. So I'm already done with that idea. The action, make sure it's avoidable, or replace it with something. If you get the impulse to drink soda, you can drink water instead, or drink kombucha, which is carbonated as well, gives that same bubbly sensation, and it's a healthier option. So you want to just really play chess with yourself, essentially. So which sensory cues will you remove to decrease prompting? All right. Number 4, positive affirmation. You got to talk positively about yourself. You must be validated to avoid the unhealthy habit. All right. So from ourself or our support system, we want to hear from our like-minded peers that, hey, that's a good choice that you're working out, or hey, that's a good choice that you're putting down the unhealthy habit, the weed or the alcohol. Oh wow, you stopped. That's amazing. You want to hear that positive stuff. But even from yourself, it's like, I'm proud of myself. I say I'm proud of myself to myself as I'm making this content, because hey, I could easily be lazy right now. I could easily be sitting in the bed, doing the same things that I was doing other years when I said I was going to get after this content creation. I could make a bunch of excuses, but I'm just pushing through. I'm not loving how I'm producing this video, as far as like I keep messing up, literally right there too. But everything's not going to be perfect. So I'm proud of myself for continuing to make the effort and getting better as I go along. Right. So that's affirmation, that's validation. All effective elements serve as affirmation. So telling yourself you did good by doing all the other steps previously is a part of an affirmation. This is too far away is an affirmation that says that I'm not going to produce too much energy to take action towards this bad habit. So number 5, quick and simple. Everything that we've gone over creates reasoning. We must be compelled to avoid an unhealthy habit. So this is considered having a strong why, or a strong boundary statement. What makes it important for you individually? What is the deep intrinsic value that you will have from not partaking in this unhealthy habit? So a lot of times it's like, I don't want to eat chips because I don't want to gain too much weight, or I don't want to clog my arteries. Sweets, I don't want diabetes. I don't want the unhealthy lethargic feeling that I get from eating certain foods. I don't want my lungs to feel a certain way from smoking, from being sedentary too long. I don't want my joints to be immobile. I don't want my muscles to be stiff or atrophy. Those are things you tell yourself for having strong whys on why you want to avoid this unhealthy habit, or on the healthy side, improve the healthy habits. So what's your strong why? What's the reason that's going to compel you to another level? Now, this is detailed on how you create a plan for getting rid of an unhealthy habit. Very extensive. And these are all the steps that are necessary. It's like you're studying yourself in the same way that companies study our human behavior to get us to do certain things. Like, all right, I know that if I put this button there, they're going to click it. If I have the phone slick and a certain size, they're going to be compelled to binge social media on a daily basis. Then that pop up an ad right here, they're going to be inclined to buy, especially if we kind of listen to what they got going on and we hear what they want to buy. Stuff's going to start popping up on your timeline based on what I just said, but it is what it is. Let me know in the comments what you think of this content. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Peace to the tribe.